I have a couple questions for him in regards to how you deal on that high level with a Division I athlete that's trying to play even on a higher level. What are the first issues that you deal with? Just challenges.
Well, in terms of him and in general, I think once you get to that level, it becomes less about technical and more about tactical and strategy, because they all know how to play, they know how to hit the ball, they know how to hit the cross courts, the down the lines. It's more about where does your strengths line up with the opponent's weaknesses, what can you do to disrupt what he wants to do, and what kind of patterns do you want to play that are going to best suit you winning points. So a lot of it kind of goes to being tactical and strategical, and some of the technical stuff comes up, like he for example is working on laying his wrist back on the forehand, but like it's minor stuff compared to how he wants to play and strategy versus different opponents.
And how is it finding the right communication? I know with kids at that level, it's finding the right way to say things at the right time. Do you find yourself going, all right, maybe I should say 3 less things here or 1? Like, how do you find that balance? You go, I'm talking to Christian too much, maybe I need to lay back, or like, when do you find that balance, just communication wise?
Yeah, I mean, for me, he's my brother, so I kind of have a good read on him versus like some kid who I don't know as well.
Sure.
But I think in general, the best thing to do is to sort of be like very perceptive of how they seem to be in terms of their mood.
Okay.
If he's in a good mood, I'll be more forward about what I'm saying in terms of like suggestions. If I see that he's a little frustrated, I might pull back a little bit. So I'm kind of with him, gauging his mood, and just even his teammates who I've gotten to know better too, I'm kind of in the same way, like take the same approach with them, where if they're a little down or whatever, maybe give them some space, but if they're kind of receptive, I'll be a little bit more suggestive.
Micro, macro goals, do you set those for you guys? Do you guys talk about it, or like say, what do I want to do this next 4 months? What do I want to do in 4 years? Or is there any
For him?
For him?
Yeah.
For him too, and in general?
Yeah. I think micro is good, sort of like, even for example, this break, like we have these time slots that we're training on, and we're working on different point type structure things in these sessions. So micro, like over the course of say 4 weeks, when he's been home for break, we have sort of like a idea, all right, we want to focus on this for this practice, blah, blah, blah. And then macro becomes, okay, what do we want to do in the spring season and beyond with his college games. So there's definitely a mix of both, and I think finding both is like a very important thing when you're dealing with kids who are playing college.
Training-wise, people love to know, like, how hard you go, when you ease up, how much time do you take? When you get closer into the season, are the training sessions less? Everybody would like to know about kind of the intervals of it. So when you get into the season, how much training is going on after that? Off season, how much training are you doing, saying in the summertime? Like, what do you think?
Right now, I mean, it's pretty focused because they finish fall season beginning of November, and they get back into it shortly after they go to school. Okay. So for this winter break, this month that he's been home, it's been pretty much 3-4 days a week on court. He's been doing runs, lifts, and stuff like that in his own. So there's not really a break for this period because it's in between fall and spring.
Sure.
After this, and then it's all systems go pretty much through April in the spring season. After the spring season's over, he'll be at school, they'll decompress with his friends, and then when he gets home the early part of summer, he'll probably take it easy, maybe hit here and there a couple times a week, once or twice a week, and then sort of like July and onwards, towards the end of the summer, is when he starts really ramping up, getting ready for the fall again.
During the season, those guys aren't doing long runs, right? They're probably just practicing playing, and then there's not a ton of off-road work, is there? Right?
They have lifts in addition to, so they'll have like a midday practice and then a lift in the morning.
Okay.
So they are doing conditioning on top of practicing. That's why it's like once he gets back, it's like pretty much all systems go through April. So yeah, that's why you got to pick your spots about like times when you can decompress.
Sure.
You know,
rest is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because well, I'm sure you know, George, you know the ATP season, it's incredible. No, there's only like really 2 weeks off, and it's really hard. They always complained about whether there should be more time off, because really they're playing right after Christmas, even before the New Year down in Australia. There's not enough time, and people get a lot of injuries, and that's why players on a high level during the season will take, after a Grand Slam, 4 weeks off, because rest is probably the most important thing. Sometimes people just go too hard, you know, like last year Dominic Thiem played, I think 2 years ago, played so many tournaments, and then all of a sudden you're burnt and you can't function anymore. You've got to realize that it's a long-term thing. That's why Federer is 38 and he's been able to play because he's taken a lot of breaks. I mean, 38. When I was playing 20 years ago, not even on that level, you never even thought about someone playing at 38. It was a joke. At 30, they were retired because they started so early and they played all the time. So rest is huge. It's a big deal.
Thanks, Mike.